Okay, Jay here with Coast to Coast Diesel Enthusiast. About to get started on my Sunday. Figured I'd give you guys a shot of the port untouched. This is pretty much what comes from the factory. Here's some of the these are some of the bits that I use. One's a little bit bigger. That one I do most of the work with, and then I go back and I can kind of get some of the flatter spots with this one here a little bit, but I'll be using this one for the most part of today. That one does a lot of the good stuff in that pocket. Anyway, let me see, down in here, I'm gonna try to hold this a little bit better. Down in here, man, this thing's loaded up with those little just casting imperfections and all that stuff, but again, untouched. You can see an obvious line right there. I call it a spoon or something like that, because that's pretty much the effect it has. I haven't touched any of this, man. And then under here, hard to see with the light, there's a second part of that where you got like a scoop here, comes up, then there's another scoop there, and there's that wall I was talking about. I'll probably nibble away a little bit of that. I'll get up in here, see if I can see it. There's a real short radius right here, but it's hard to see because you can't. But there's another indentation, kind of like that groove right there. There's an indentation that, as the air is forced into here, pretty much compressed and then released, but it hits those grooves and it's kind of forced into a swirl type tornado thing, man. And you can maybe kind of see a little bit of that. There's some of the casting imperfections there, but see that groove right there? That's not in every port. I'll show you the next one. Again, this is an untouched port, and you see whatever these things are, they're not very tall, they're not very big, but they're in every port all the way up the runners and all that stuff. And you see this little flat spot here? That other port didn't have one like that. It had something out here. So each one of the ports are individually different. Again, though, there's that, whatever you want to call it, is that scoop right there. It's kind of like like a scoop, and then another level. If I get my camera to adjust, there's that level, that factory line, and then there's another level of scoop, and it goes up here by where the throat hits the top of the valve seat. All of that stuff can be, I can make that a little bit better, but I can only really go so far because I'm kind of limited to know, because I don't know at this point what I can actually do with the seats. I'm pretty sure these were induced. I think that's what they said, from what I found, that these are induced into the cast iron. They're actually part of the cast iron because it doesn't look like they can be pressed out. Some heads have them and some don't. My truck is a 2002, and these heads are off of a 2000 engine. But again, you see, let me see if I can get some light over here for you, a little bit better. Now, I already got the runners yesterday. I spent a lot of time on them. Probably about 9 hours just goofing around, listening to radio. Probably about what I'll do today. But that seems to be consistent right there. I don't know how much difference it makes by that not being there, but I'm sure that being gone and this area being opened up a little bit, because this is where all the air gets funneled down into, and all the whole big top of this intake runner, it's just massive, man. That thing is huge. It's just one big old pocket of air stuffed in there, and as it goes down these runners, it picks up its velocity right here in that area because it's all crammed into that, and that's why they have these grooves. Kind of hard to see. See, I'll show y'all another video later when all of this is cleaned out and the rust and whatever oil gets in the turbo or past the turbo into the air. So it's pretty much just air, but I'm pretty sure some of the oil throughout leaks and years and whatever, that gets on some of the walls there. Not sure that's a big problem. Maybe for the turbo, I got a new turbo and all that stuff. I'm just gonna stick with the heads for now, talking about this crap. But as you see, it comes down in there, and there's a repetitive offender right there, man. It's in every damn port. But there's that wall, there's that scoop, there's that second layer of scoop. Now I just get in here and clean that up, and I highlight this. I leave the height of that groove right there. I leave it as absolutely high as I can. I don't actually touch that groove, but I do highlight that scoop, and I leave the edge of that wall right there. I call it a wall, I don't know what the hell it's called, but these are helical ports, not conventional. I've said that 100 times in my other videos, but these are different. These are made to cram the air down through that, pick up that cylinder swirl, and it kind of doesn't, you know, a couple laps anyway. There's the one tighter close to the valve stem. If you can imagine the valve stem in there and blah blah blah, does, you know, swirls around that. But that's the first one, and here's the outer one. This one's actually closer to the valve, so it's really just waiting for the valve, you know, an opportunity to escape. But while it's there and it's getting compressed up, that little bit when it lifts off the valve seat and comes out, man, it just gives it that tornado effect, and it ends up coming out. You can see, I ain't got the valve gasket on, the head gasket on, but it hits the cylinder wall. Most of the air from one of the images I found anyway, most of it comes out right there. That's one of the most restriction points. The highest velocity that it can get is actually right there. I think it's because it comes in and it's actually aimed at this. But back here, as even as they can get it to disperse, it still hits the cylinder wall, and it somehow does its invisible tornado thing. And that's because diesel fuel is heavy as hell, and it doesn't evaporate like gasoline. Diesel is actually like a damn oil. But I'm just showing you anyway before I get started, and this is what Ford put out from the factory eons ago, and I think I can make things a little cleaner. Let's on to the next one. Again, man, this one's pretty dirty port actually, but probably because it's at the end. But that repeated fender, man, that little bump right there, I take them things out. I make a little bit of space, and what I end up doing is I stick to what the principles are, but I just highlight some of the short-term radius here. I highlight some of this pocket because that's all the air is coming in there, and it's kind of, it hits that wall because it comes around, hits that wall, and deflects it again and gives it the circular motion. And again, one level here and then the second level there. And I don't know how close I can get you up to see that, but it blends right into the top of that throat in the valve seat. So I don't do much digging in here. I don't know that I'm going to spend 9 hours. I mean, the intake runners are huge. The things are massive. However long this thing is here, I don't know. That's, to give you an idea, that's about how far maybe I can get into the runner. Like you say, you can kind of see some of it, not just the light, but some of it, some of the port work that I was able to get done. It comes down to about right there. Kind of like what you can see, the reflection of the light is all the oil not being there anymore. The reason that light's shining so bright because it's actually back down to bare metal. Anyway, I don't want to keep a video too damn long. And I'm going to try to get a video of me actually doing some of this stuff. That way it ain't just me explaining things and you've seen a few, you know, basically a video of a couple different styles. But there's a consistency there. Each port does have its own individual build for whatever reason. No two ports are exactly the same. That some of them have, there's some stuff going on right here on some of them, and then on some of the ports it's up here. On some of the ports it's over here. I think it's just the way Ford does their things and this and that. And for the most part, if they're there, if it's like a hump that's part of that groove that contributes to air being forced into a cylindrical swirl type shape, I don't mess with. I clean it up, but I leave the height of that groove there. That groove's made to catch it. So I just get in there and clean up and try to make the texture, I try to make that as smooth as can be, because I don't know, but I'm assuming that texture, the smoother it is, at some point the less resistance we got on the air. And again, I'm not trying to build 800 horsepower motor. I just want more air in there, because injectors, it's everywhere. And I see a lot of people overlooking something that I think is pretty damn obvious. And if this can increase more air, it should keep the head cooler, and it should help with evaporation, the atomization of the fuel. And I'll get these things. There's no way in hell I'm doing all this work and not going to flow these heads. There's no way in hell. That'd drive me crazy. About half crazy from doing the shit that I've done so far. I wish I had a flow bench sitting out there in the garage right now. But I'm gonna get going on this today, man. Again, coast to coast diesel enthusiasts, giving you an idea of the 7.3 Powerstroke Turbo Diesel helical intake ports. Because I don't see nobody else putting stuff out there, so I'm just trying to give somebody that's got an incentive to try to improve things, and they're at the point where they either do or don't have the heads off. If they look forward to taking the heads off, whatever not, maybe this will give you guys or gals some kind of idea of what some common sense and how just what Ford wanted to do with that. It's not just Ford. Everybody's got the cylindrical ports. This Chevy small blocks got stuff like that, this and that, but that's different. That's natural aspirated. These are much more air being, basically the difference in the gasoline engines are relying on the piston to go down and create a vacuum in the cylinder. So when the intake valve opens, the vacuum from the piston going to bottom dead center, that's what's pulling the air fuel mixture, and it's an air fuel mixture in there, mixed together, not just in the cylinder. This is where the injector goes. So there's no diesel or fuel in any of the intake. It comes out in the combustion chamber. The difference is it's got a compressor, basically a turbo that compresses the crap out of the air, higher RPMs and more, but it's compressed air waiting on that valve to open. Even, I just went with a stage 1 cam at this point. I don't know if I'll change it, but I might. I'm open to changing things, whatever not. But I don't want to get too crazy. I'm kind of stuck with a heavy ass tow rig for now, unless I buy another truck. Probably gonna do that. But I say, man, what can you do to make what you have better? That's what I'm doing. I'm cleaning things up, highlighting the grooves, and just basically doing what I can do with my human eyes to say more air is going to go through here faster and with less resistance, maintain that shape that the factory built, and just highlight the grooves and get rid of some of those snag points, because they're everywhere in here. When I first started looking at this, I was like, dude, there's a ton of room for improvement. But it's not about digging into the heads and making more room. It's about maintaining the design, but there's just little crap everywhere. All of that stuff eventually, it will eventually add up. So if I can make it smooth, and when I get done with these, man, they end up really smooth. I haven't hit them with sandpaper yet. I'm not sure that I will. I think it might be a little overkill, but I can make the metal that's all textured up and this and that, I can make that look like a mirror. It's crazy. And we'll see. While I'm here, who knows, man? It's a matter of really just being patient, and I've been at this for quite a while, so my patience is kind of getting thin, getting old and grouchy and all that shit. But I'm gonna get going on this here today, man. Just wanted to show you a few more before I got into any of them. To just point out some of the consistencies. I don't know what it's got to be something, but there's like a mark right there. I don't know if that gave the guys in the factory when they're creating them some kind of mark to go off of and say, okay, that's just it, get them into that area as I get, here, grade this down and get them close to that and leave it out there, and that'll give you an idea. I think I'm going to be able to make a little bit more room for the air that's coming in there and just dying to get into this part right here. I can open that up a little bit, but I'm maintaining the shape. Again, on to the next one. Again, the consistency and the consistency and the consistency of that thing right there. Get these things in here, open them up, spend a little time in there. It looks a lot better. It gets rid of all the snaggy, garbage, imperfection crap, and it's just another step in my journey on getting these heads the way that I want them, because I think there's room for improvement. Again, man, whatever that's called, a booger, whatever you want to call it, it's there. They're actually everywhere in the runners. I should have took a video of the runners. Them things are everywhere in the runners. So probably taking out 5 or 10 of them per runner, top and bottom. That has to do a little bit of something, kind of freeing up some of that air. Anyway, man, that's my video. Again, coast to coast diesel enthusiast, man. Porting and polishing. The polishing part will come later. Right now I'm just porting, doing some cleaning up and doing the port work on the helical intake ports of a 7.3 Powerstroke Turbo Diesel head. This happens to be a 2000 model head. My truck's a 2002. But yeah, there's a video, man. It ended up going longer than I wanted, but there you go. It's only going to take 6 days to upload the damn thing with the amount of signal I got out here in Alabama. But there you go, man. There's the ports. I'm gonna get at it Sunday afternoon. Hope you guys have a great day. If you want to get into this kind of stuff, man, just get you a decent amount of bits. I got a bunch of them. I got about 9 or 10 bits, but that one there I use the most. Then that one there, I come along and I hit the flat parts. That one does really good. And I'm not gonna go over and pan up, but I got probably about 10 of these. They're all tungsten tips with her. Man, they work like a champ. And I'm knocking it out. Anyway, man, I'm gonna get back at it. There you go. Helical intake ports for a 7.3 Powerstroke Turbo Diesel cylinder head. Y'all have a good day.